Hello, my name is Mark. Welcome to my home. This is part 2 of my 2015 Tab Max S trailer air conditioner rework. This is part 2. If you haven't seen part 1, I would highly recommend you do so before watching this one so you know what's going on. But let's get started. In our last video, we talked about the air restriction that's going on this air conditioner and how it's really restrictive. It wants 140 square inches of ventilation and it's only getting 15. So my solution was to use the entire outside vent to be just outbound air and to put a fantastic fan vent cover on the top. So I would pull air in the top of the trailer and blow it out the side. There would be no mixing and he'd get plenty of breathing room. So yesterday, one of my parts came. It is a Max Air Max Fan 4013K. 4013K. Max Air sells all kinds of fans. I was originally thinking about getting a fan with a black cover, but I like the look of a white cover better, and my trailer has the original Max Fan fan in it, and if I ever replace it, which I think I'm going to do, I'll replace it with a white cover so that in the future both of mine will match. But the 4013K that I got is just is a white cover. So when I replace mine in the future with another white cover, they'll both match, and I like the look of that better. Anyway, I chose the 4013K because it's cheap. It only blows in one direction. It doesn't have a remote. It's manual lift, so it doesn't have all those features and crazy stuff. This is just an exhaust fan. So since I wasn't going to use the fan parts anyway, I only needed the case. That was the way to go. So today we're going to do two things. I'm going to show you how I'm going to mount that on my trailer. Cutting holes in your roof is kind of scary, but you know me, I'm up for it. And I'll show you the fan that I got and the modifications I did to it to make it fit just right. So let's talk a little bit about how it's going to mount. Now, in the previous video, we talked about how my goal is to have 140 square inches because the back of the air conditioner itself is a 14 by 10 opening. So I'm looking to produce an intake vent that's also 14 by 10, and that'll make this very efficient. So in an ideal world, I would find a vent fan, a cover that was 140 square inches, but you can't. After looking and looking and looking, they're all 14 by 14, and that's great. So what I'm going to do, let's assume that we are a bird and we're looking down at the top of our trailer, right? So this is the top of my trailer. And there's the tongue, right? Here's my existing fan right here. And my air conditioner vent is here. And the air conditioner sits in a cabinet, right like that. And he's about 10 inches wide. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put, he's about 12 inches this direction and about 10 inches this direction. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my max fan right here, right over the top of that. But I'm not going to cut in a hole 14 by 14. I'm only going to cut a hole as big as the cabinet is, about 12 by 10. So that's about 14 by 10. It's about what I'm going to do. So I'm going to cut a hole here that's going to be 14 inches tall, but only 10 inches wide. That gives me the exact amount of space, area, that I need for venting. But since the Fantastic vent, you know, it has that little knob that you turn to raise and lower the vent, that knob will be through the roof and right in front of the cabinet. Even though I'm not going to cut this roof all the way, I'm just, this section's going to be cut, this section's not going to be cut. I'm going to drill a hole here. It'll be under the fan lid, and it will allow me just to reach up in front of the air conditioner and open the lid. No motors, no nothing necessary. So that's generally what we're going to do. So let's take a look at the fan assembly that I got and the modifications that I've done to it so far and the additional modifications I'm going to do to make it do this. Let's get it. Okay, so here we are. This is the max fan assembly that we got, and it comes with the motor and the fan and a screen and the bottom bezel. It comes with all this stuff, but I've already stripped a lot of it down to just what I need. One of the reasons that I chose this style is that the fan that I have up there now, and most fans, only have one support. This is a steel support, and this is steel support. This is what opens this lid. You can see that. That's how that lid opens. That's a really nice feature. This is way stronger than just having one support on it. You can see where the motor mounted. That motor mounted right here, and the bezel was down here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut here, and cut here, because I don't need any of that. I'm going to cut this out square to about there. I need these back supports for the lift assembly. And that'll open this up to way more than 140 square inches. So I'm going to get at that, and we'll see in the next segment. Before I start modifying this, I want to show you guys. This is the knob right there that will extend down, that opens and closes this guy. My cutout in my roof is going to be 14 inches long, but only about 12 inches deep. So this area of the roof, this area of the fan will still be covered. This area will be open, and this knob will extend down through the ceiling. Hope that makes sense. If not, you'll see it as we move forward in the project. You'll understand by the time we're done. Okay, after you've removed all that gear, first modification you need to make is remove the fan motor support. Don't need that. So at this point, I'm going to take it out to the trailer. I'm going to do a little test fit and see if my numbers match reality. Okay, here we are at the trailer. I've got my air conditioning vent off, and if you look straight up, there's that weird sewer vent with a 1 1/4 inch hole trying to cool that air conditioner. So this guy's got to go. If you look across there, there's my other fan. It's got a black lid. The new one I'm putting on has a white lid, but when I replace that, I'm also going to go with a white lid. I like that's a semi-transparent lid. I don't really like that. They're not very UV stable. They get brittle when they get when they've been in the sun for a long time, and that one is brittle, I can tell. So anyway, in order to start placing around here where I need to put my new vent, need to take this vent off. Typical square bit. I'm just going to go take that guy off, and there's silicone sealant around the lip. So we'll take that off too and clean this area up. Back in a bit. I've got the vent off. And here again is, I don't understand why they even bothered with this. You know, 1 1/4 inch pipe. That's not going to add any significant cooling to that air conditioner at all. Why even bother? But I had some questions about in some of the comments that I've got about they wanted to see the construction of the roof. So as you get the vent off, you're going to find here's the silicone sealant that they've got on the outside. They put it down with this gray, that's butyl tape, right? That's that stuff that's real sticky and icky. So let's get into the actual construction of the trailer. On the outside, we've got a layer of what looks like about 3/32 aluminum. We've got 1 inch of styrofoam as insulation, and it's got 1 inch of styrofoam as insulation, and on the top surface of that insulation, I don't know if you can see that here, it's got aluminized. It's got an aluminized surface to help with reflect infrared, and then looks like about maybe 3/16 wood. So it's aluminum, styrofoam with foil. It's foil back styrofoam, about 1 inch, and then about some paneling, wood paneling. So that's the construction of the wood: aluminum, mylar foam, and wood. So there you go. So I'm going to get all this cleaned up. The screws that came off, these are nice screws. Hang on to them. They're stainless steel, self-tapping. You use it all over in this trailer, so keep those. This can go in the trash. See you in a bit. Okay, we placed the new vent assembly. Can't call it a fan really, because it's not. We've placed the new vent assembly about where I want it. You see how it's centered over the top of the air conditioner, which is great. I'll give you a piece of advice. When you're working on the top of your trailer, get a freestanding ladder. Do not lean your ladder against that plastic trim. That plastic trim, as old as some of these are, can be really brittle. You don't want to put any weight on that. If I were to lean a ladder against this, it would probably break that. So get a freestanding ladder that you can stand on and not lean on your trailer. So let's go on up and take a look. If you look underneath there, see the old hole where the old vent was? That's right under. So that hole goes away. It'll be part of my new hole. If you look across, these two vent covers, they line up perfectly. They match. I like it. It's the exact right place. So I'm now going to make some measurements. The rod and the knob comes down from right there. I'm going to measure to make sure that's going to come out in front. You know, the cabinet stops about here. I'm going to make sure that that knob comes out when it drops straight down, that it's in front of the cabinet where I can operate it. We'll then cut out this section and that section to open this up as much as we can. But yeah, it's it's coming along real well. I've got on order some butyl tape and some Cyflex, the sealant that they use on these guys. I don't have that yet, but I'm going to go ahead and make these cutouts and stuff. But first I want to measure and make sure, like they say, measure twice, cut once. I'm going to measure 4 times and cut once. So I'm going to go around, make sure all my measurements are right, mark this top very evenly. And like I say, this vent is only going to be cut to a certain depth here because I don't want to cut in front of the air conditioner cabinet, right? I want to drop down only there, leave this part of the ceiling intact. So we'll have to trim and make some adjustments on this to make that happen, but should work just great. So I'll get at it and we will see you in a bit. And before I go, I'm admiring how well this is going to work. It's so nice to have projects that come together like this one's going to. A lot of you asked a question about what happens if you want to run the air conditioner when it's raining out. See these 4 buttons? There's 2 on either side. This is a MaxxAir Max fan. MaxxAir sells a shroud like this that clips right onto these points. Just snaps down. That makes a rain cover for this. So if you were in the deep south and you wanted to run your air conditioner while it's up, you could just snap one of those covers on here and you'd be good to go. You run it and the air just come in naturally through the back of the shroud. Excellent. Okay, when I'm going to start cutting the roof, I want to remove this air conditioner because I don't want to hurt any part of it, and I don't want all the dust and debris to go down into the fins of the air conditioner. So we're going to remove the air conditioner. To do that, take the trim off, screw here, trim comes off. Now they've always had trouble with these air conditioners leaking water on you, and one of the ways it can happen is that water can get in. This air conditioner is on a slide, and water can get on that slide and leak forward. So you can see that they've got some sealant here and some sealant here. So I've got to cut that, and then this air conditioner will slide out. It's plugged in over here, and you can see I'm going to have to remove that outlet so that this is really kind of dumb what they've done, but so I can remove that outlet so that the end of the cord will come out. So we'll get at that. Okay, next step in getting this air conditioner out, you've got to pull off all of this tape and these weird separator baffles that they made. You got to clear all that out so you can just slide it forward. Okay, so I've got all those weird diverter plates that they were trying to use to channel the hot air and the cold air in different places. Got those all off. So now you can see that the air conditioner is free to move out. I just got to deal with that outlet business over there. And but man, when they put those diverters in there, bouncing around and stuff, you know, as this trailer does, really damage the fins out here. So I'm gonna do what I can to straighten these out, because that's a significant area of damage here, and there's another significant area of damage there, up at the top there and up at the top there, and all of that represents air restriction. So I'm going to go ahead and carefully straighten those out. We'll take a sharp knife and just bend them and straighten them all out. They will not ever be perfect again, but it'll be a lot better. So let me lift this guy out. So here we are inside the trailer. It is pretty much ready to come out. I need to point out 2 screws, one there and one at the end over here. See that? They've just run some screws up here and here. So you need to remove those screws so this can come out. You need to remove those screws, and the air conditioner will slide on out in a tray. Okay, the air conditioner's out. The cord is long enough to where I didn't have to mess with that. I want to show you some things in the cabinet. Some good things and bad things. This is the tray that they built. You can see that they've just put sealant around, and they've got this tray leaning slightly this way that they've built. So it's down in this corner and up in this corner. We'll go and look at that. That's the notorious vent over there that lets the condensation drain out. They've got a little spacer here underneath the air conditioner to keep the front up, so that the idea is with the front up like this, condensation will run to the back, drop down here, run to this corner and out. So that's the idea. But here's something really ugly. Look at, this is the wire. This is 120 volts. This is shore power. Coming across here, and up here, and that runs, that's the plug-in that the air conditioner runs from. But look at how they've routed it. It's right behind and pinched in that, behind that aluminum channel. And over here, if you look, I don't know if you can see that because I can't focus that narrow. This has been bouncing up and down like that. This has been just vibrating, you know, as trailers do. It's just been vibrating, and it has worn almost all the way through the insulation. That was, dude, that was about to short shore power to my frame. That's a fire hazard. That's an electrocution hazard. I mean, that's bad, bad, bad. No, no, no. Don't, dude, I got to reroute that, and we got to tie wrap it. Look at that. It's just been cutting it, just wearing, and it's about through. Same with the other side. Really, really ugly. They need to be securing this. Look at it. It has no wire securing at all, just sitting there vibrating as we bounce down the road, just cutting through that insulation, up, down, up, down, up, down. So we're gonna fix that. Well, I'll say this, these projects I've been doing on this trailer have been allowing me to at least get in and fix some of these defects. I won't be having trouble with this in the future. But now we look at the top, see how that's all framed in? That's my opening. I'm gonna make it 14 inches wide and stop cutting over here. I'll just give you a nice little pan around of how that's gonna go. So my new vent's gonna go right in the middle of this box. This whole cabinet, this whole thing in here, this whole cabinet will be vented from the top. It'll just go, air will go in and straight out. Very cool. We'll get at it. Okay, now that the air conditioner's out, you can start to see the framing up here. To get this guy oriented right and exactly where I want him, I need to have some kind of reference line on the roof to draw my lines and get it all square and everything. So what I'm going to do inside the trailer, I'm going to drill a little hole about 1/16 of an inch here and here, just that far apart. What that'll do is that'll, on the ceiling or on the roof, it'll leave me a line so I'll know where this is. And then when I start to cut, that'll be as far forward as I go. And as I go back, I'll do the same thing here. Put a hole here and a hole here. And that'll allow me to keep my opening square inside this. Anyway, that's what we're gonna do. Okay, we are officially at the point of no return. From inside here, I drilled right at the edge, right through the ceiling, right up against that that frame member. That is, I don't know if you can see it, but that's my hole. That will give me a reference that when I'm cutting my hole, I go no farther than that. And I will square with that guy. So this is now my center line reference to where all my other holes going to be. So mark it with pencil so that I can make changes and stuff. But my hole will come out here, back this way to include this hole, so it's gone. Come out like this, up like that. When I make the measurement, it's 10 by 14, exactly 140 square inches, exactly the amount of air that we need to go in, so that the intake air is exactly the same size as the exit air. That's really very efficient. Air doesn't have to accelerate and decelerate and squeeze down to get through. So I'm going to go ahead and finish marking this all up, and again, measure 3, measure 4, measure 5 times before you cut once. So let's get at it. Okay, I've got it laid out. What I've done is in very light pencil, I've got a square line that represents the outside dimensions of my fan, or my vent. So that's where the outside would be, but I'm not going to cut forward of this, right? So I need to now measure in from where this is, from the outside lip to the inside lip, from the outside lip to the inside lip, because that's where I'm actually going to cut, and we'll mark that exactly where we need to go. Back at it. Okay, as is common when you're prototyping something like this, you need to make changes a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and take these two. These are clips that would hold on a vent cover here. There are other ways to connect one of those vents, so if I need a vent I can, or a vent cover. You know, we talked about that, a big vent cover here that if I wanted to run this when it was raining. That's not the way it is in the West. If you're in the South, you may not want to do this part. I'll let that guy go by. But I am going to, if you look at the underside of this thing, you see how it's marked so that you can take those off. So I'm going to cut this guy down. And what that's going to do for me is that it'll take about 1.5 inches off here, and I will be able to move my whole vent 1.5 inches this way. So instead of having a 2-inch lip out here, I'll have a 1-inch lip, and that'll allow for more ventilation in the air conditioner. So I'm going to go ahead and trim this back, trim the other side back, make this square instead of rectangular, and then the whole thing will fit this way a little bit better and give me better ventilation, because that's what I'm after. Okay, I took off the extra flange here, so now this guy is square rather than rectangular, about 1 inch. So with that gone, I can move this whole thing over like that, and that'll give me another, oh, what is this? Let's measure that. By moving it down, it'd be 14 inches by 1 inch. That'll give me an additional 14 square inches of ventilation space. So looking good. Okay, here we have it, marked in ink. That's the hole that I need to cut. Measured 5 times, ready to cut. We're now absolutely at the place of no return. So my front line is there. That cut will be right along the inside frame of where this was. The hole that I'm going to cut will take out this and all of its little holes and stuff. We'll just make that square. Let's go ahead and get at it. Okay, yay-hoo. I have now cut along. I set my tool depth just to cover that, because I didn't know what was going to be under here, and it's a good thing I did. When we lift this up, if you look at the construction here, that's aluminum, and they've got about an 1/8 inch piece of bubble wrap. You know, you can see that right there. So that insulates the aluminum. Set that aside, and here we've got styrofoam, but I have a support member right in the middle here, and I didn't want to cut. I want to cut into that support member. I need to investigate, see if that member goes all the way across or what's going on with it. If it is a structural member, which I don't know if it is or not, but if it is a structural member, I'll need to leave it, and then the air will just have to go on either side of it. We'll lose a little bit here, but no big deal. So now we're going to cut down into the foam. I got to tell you, when you start cutting here, be very, very careful. Use your tools on a very, very low speed, because this is styrofoam, and if you were to spark or melt and start that styrofoam on fire, your trailer is burning to the ground. If you had a fire going, a smoldering fire going on between the layers of this, that would be ugly. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this out and get down to the wood in here. All right, okay, here we are. I've taken a sharp knife, gone around the perimeter of the foam. Let's get in and see what we got. So it's about 1/2 inch of foam. And look at that. Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Those are the speaker wires that go to the back. They come from the Jensen up front and they go to the back. And they've got them in little grommets, you can see here. So you can see exactly why I only wanted to penetrate just through the aluminum here, not down into the thing. So here's my front. Look at that. There's the nice front aluminum. There's the front aluminum there. Isn't that nice? That's body member right there. Right there. Body member right there, so that the screws that I put down to put this fan in, since I got it lined up where the other fan was, I knew that this would be here. With this blocking all the way around, I believe I'll be able to cut I'll be able to cut that without any trouble at all, because it's not supported here. There's a frame member here, and there's a frame member right there. So there's nothing, you know, this does not need support here anymore. So I'll be able to cut that, and I'll be able to move these wires that way a little bit But yeah, so there's your reason. When you're cutting into unknown things, don't go any deeper than you need to, and do it like you're excavating a dinosaur bone or something, layer by layer by layer. So now we're going to go down into the wood. But that is so nice that I've got support here and here all the way around on this guy. Really sweet. Woot, woot, woot. So there's the wood cut out. There is my opening. Isn't that awesome? Now, if you look, get you underneath here, if I can. Can you see this frame member that's here? See how it's resting right on top of this other frame? If you look underneath here, tip this back, you can see that that's connected right there. So this cross member here is not supporting anything structurally. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it here, and I'll put a couple of self-tapping long screws that will connect this guy to the frame member underneath, and make this a really tight bond, and it won't give me any trouble, considering they've got one of these every 7 inches. Right? It's great. It's really nice support that they built in here. So this, we won't need this support in here anymore, not when I'm going to tie it to that support anyway, and that member will load the other sides. So we're going to get at it. I'm going to cut this out and continue on. Okay, I have cut the support strut out, and if you look, you see a couple of things. One, they've already bonded this top support strut to this cabinet support strut, so it's already bonded. I don't have to run any screws in there. They've already done that. But if you look in there, I don't know if you can see it or not, there are other wires running down here. So it's a good thing if you start cutting out in this area, be careful, you know, just like I did. Be careful with your wires. So I need to notch this with a pair of cutters, hand cutters, so I can get that cable out and reroute it. Okay, now that we have that strut out, it's time to make some modifications to the vent cover itself. As you can see how over here, that's not gonna fit down in there, so I have to cut that lip back all the way around so that this side will fit down in and that side will fit flush. Let's go do that. So I cut off the lip material over there so that that side will sit flush and this side can go down in. And you see that's starting to fit there really nice. The next cool thing here, little trick, that is the knob that raises and lowers this thing. It needs to go down through the roof. So if I take this and put it in its hole like it's supposed to be, like that, and I wiggle it just a little bit around. See, wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. That knob has left a mark. That knob has left a mark. That's where I need to drill to extend that knob down into the trailer. Let's go do that. Well, Tabbers, I'm gonna close this episode down. I'm not done yet, but I've gone as far as I can because I don't have my butyl tape here yet, so I can't seal this up. But let me show you what's going on. Look at that vent, right exactly where it needs to be, above the air conditioner. Evenly spaced with the other guy over there. Looks nice. And when that one is replaced with a white like this, it'd be really cool to go. This guy all sits down on there nice and even. We'll fill the gaps with butyl tape and Syflex, same goop as they've got the other one on there. But let's go inside. I love it when a plan comes to fruition. Let me show you how that knob came out. It's awesome. Here we are in the trailer, and look at that. There's the vent, and I'm going to cut that so that it's open as possible. So that round, we'll cut that round out so it's a nice square hole. But look at that vent. That knob, I may put a different knob on here. I don't know yet, but I'll do something with that. But look at that. We are cranking that open. Isn't that nice? So you turn the air conditioner on and open the vent right here. Very nice. So, thanks for tagging along with me. I'll probably have one more episode to go when I seal that up, remount the air conditioner, and I have a surprise for you guys. Let me go back outside. Okay, here is the existing vent, and what a nightmare it is. It's got screen on the back to keep the buggies out. It doesn't do a good job of keeping water out. It's very restrictive in itself. You can see those vent slats are quite big. So my surprise, I have a hatch door coming. A hatch door that will completely seal this. It's not a vent, it's a hatch door. Unlatch it, lift it up, and this is completely open and uninhibited airflow. Really nice. When it's sealed and closed, you won't get any water in there. So those people that have made covers for their vent, they won't need one. This will be sealed to water so that in rainstorms or when I'm washing this thing or whatever, water won't go in here because this will be completely sealed. When I want to run the air conditioner, I just take the cover off. And the cover is actually bigger than this. It's going to come down about an inch and a little bit wider and fit right in that opening. It's called an engine inspection hatch, made for marine applications. Would be a great seal on here. So that's my surprise that's coming. I'll make another video of how to get the sealing the vent and stuff up along the top, and then another video of just this cover. But anyway, stick with us, and we got one more episode to go. We'll talk to you later.